any of us.
Sure. That is something that's...
It's not even worth talking about because it's so stupid. But he was on a fucking weirdo chat site with fucked up people at the same time. So he was switching back and forth. I think that's what it was. And he thought he had muted and knocked out the picture on the one with everybody from the New Yorker.
Wrong.
So why are you trying to multitask when you're doing work with your people at the New Yorker?
Sometimes you get turned on, dude. You can't help it.
I understand. It's tough to wait. I get it. I get that. But Jesus. Holy shit.
All right. I just shared to my timeline, and it's on Brad and Britt. So there it is.
All right. Okay. That was too good to be true today. What's going to go wrong?
I think that's the wrong attitude to have.
What's going? No, we could still lose. About 10 minutes or so on the World Series excitement, sweeping the country, taking our mind off of things that
it is the fall classic, Brad, and we're all looking forward to it. It's that classic age-old matchup between the Dodgers and the Rays. Boy, remember the 1958 series when those two teams squared off?
Now here's the desperation. This is a battle for whether Tampa or Los Angeles will come out as the sports king of the year, because the Tampa Bay Lightning won the NHL Stanley Cup.
That's right.
And
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are making their way in.
And the Lakers won the NBA. So this breaks the tie. This is exciting, isn't it?
It's more than exciting.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, Tom Brady and those surprising Buccaneers are rocking and rolling in the NFL. So
yeah. So you know who's pitching tonight for the Dodgers? Sammy Kershaw.
Love Sammy Kershaw.
Yeah, he's good.
His big hit, "Queen of My Double Wide Trailer," which is really the name of the song.
Right. Oh, okay. Are we done?
We're ready.
Okay. The Brad and Britt cast is underway for another day, and I'm going to throw this at you. I should have said something before we started, but I'm going to this is what was that show? Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right.
Where everybody had to. Were they ad-libbing everything on that show? Was that show real or was that show fake?
Allegedly they were, and some of those guys were really good, but I don't know. I have my doubts.
Okay.
Ever since I found out that Charles Nelson Riley was faking his shit on Hollywood Squares, I've just doubted everything, right?
Right. But of all the crap in the last day and a half, Trump just exploding over the fact that Anthony Fauci was on widely seen 60 Minutes speaking the truth. And there's nothing worse than you can do at being associated with Trump than telling the truth. You're rewarded for lying. You're in trouble for the truth. It's an immutable truth. The one thing he said in response to that during his rant on Monday was that Fauci is on TV all the time. What is this complaining about the fact we won't let him talk? He's on TV. This is a paraphrase though, but it's right. He's on TV more than Bob Hope. Okay.
Wow.
He said that. He actually said he's on TV more than Bob Hope.
That's a dated reference.
Right. Putting aside to reference lost on anyone under 40, sir. Putting aside the fact that Bob Hope really, even factually, was not on TV that much.
Nope.
It just seemed like it, right? If I was going to use someone who is omnipresent on TV that people actually might know, I would use Regis. I'd use Regis. Regis is dead. but everybody knows it was one of those great factoids that is out there that he was on TV for more hours.
But currently, if you wanted to go with someone who was alive, you might go with a Steve Harvey or somebody of that nature.
There you go.
Somebody of that.
That's just perfect.
That's who you would go with.
You can't get away from him. Oh my God! Did you see? Speaking of Steve Harvey, no, I'm not a racist.
So he's about to say something.
They're rekindling after 6 years on mothballs the muscular dystrophy telethon.
Really?
And the host, are you sitting? Someone who might be in the same sentence as Steve Harvey as being on TV way too much, Kevin Hart.
Yeah, he's on a lot.
By the way, that commercial he's on, what is it for? It's hilarious.
It's the credit card, I think it's Capital One.
That's a funny commercial. Has your life reached the point like mine is, where when I see a new commercial for the first time, I'm really excited and entertained, because I guess my television habits are just so pathetic that I just see the same commercials over and over. Cable news is just brutal, because you can see the way the advertisers buy their commercials. They buy 2 or 3 months of a run, and they just run the same fucking commercial over all that. So if you watch a lot of cable news, I wouldn't buy Liberty Mutual Insurance.
That's a great point.
I would not buy fucking Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I would like to take Flo and that other Jamie guy, and I'd like to drown them in a pool.
Right. But
I would like to do that.
At least Progressive updates the commercial. They don't run them forever. But the Liberty, first of all, they're not funny.
No, the emu is hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about.
The concept sucks.
No, the emu is like the funniest thing ever. I can't get enough of that emu and Doug. I don't know what you're talking about.
But Bob Hope, just think of what's going on there when you bring that up right now. Wow,
that's going to appeal to the millennial voters. I think that's really going to get the millennials out to the polls, because they know that this guy speaks their language.
Bob, are there any young women you see on TV right now who you'd like to take and maybe entertain however many troops are left in Afghanistan on to entertain the troops?
Hey, how about that Ivanka Trump right here? That's what you're fighting for, boys. Right here. Don't get no headaches.
What about that Cardi B? What about her?
Hey, that Cardi B, that's wow. That WAP. I don't even know what that means, but I like it. Wow. Wow.
More than Bob Hope.
I just figured they would. Well, another one would be like Ryan Seacrest, although he's not on as much as he used to be. You could always say that because he's always on TV and he's got 100 jobs too. So you could always use that.
Didn't he have a little scandal action there?
Yeah, but he was able to get out of it. He's able to kind of like, I don't know. It was like maybe some texts or something that he was weird with. And I don't know. And I'm not sure. Are we supposed to hate Ellen still, or is she okay? Or did she get out of it? I don't know what's going on. I can't keep up with everything.
Well, the barrage of new stories about her kind of tailed off. There's no
good.
Yeah.
I figured out I actually have the official Hunter Biden narrative. Somebody posted this on Facebook, and I thought it was as good an explanation as anything. So this is what we're supposed to believe, and this is what the narrative is.
This isn't Paul Sylvester's take, is it?
No, it's not.
Paul Sylvester has a great take.
He does. Hunter Biden, who lives in Los Angeles, decided to fly 3,000 miles across the country to drop off 3 MacBook Pros at a repair shop run by a blind guy who charges the insanely low price of $85. Are you with me so far? This is what happened.
All right. So far, it doesn't sound implausible to me.
He gets off the plane and drunk drives to the repair shop because there aren't any repair shops in LA. He drops them off, signs a contract for repair, and then he disappears. Are you with me so far?
Right.
The repair shop owner recovers and reads Hunter's private emails, and private is in quotations.
But he's blind. Right?
Somehow, I don't know. Okay. A few of which mention a possible meeting with his dad, and is so alarmed he contacts the FBI. The FBI arranges to pick up the hard drives, but the computer repair shop owner takes a totally normal step of copying them. Once he realizes the FBI isn't going to do anything with them, he calls up the most credible ex-mayor on earth, this would be Rudolph Giuliani, and hands them the contents of the drive. All right, so again, totally normal. Everything's fine so far. That totally credible ex-mayor sits on them for months, then chooses to release them 3 weeks before the election. The mainstream media asked to independently verify their validity, but then Rudolph Giuliani does what all people trying to prove facts do and ignores these requests. That's the story. I don't understand what's implausible, what's hard to believe about that. That is the narrative that's being pushed in right-wing radio and on Fox News and on all these other sites, right?
Right. Well, obviously, the scandal is about why Rudy Giuliani hasn't been locked up or charged.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the scandal, and I would assume that Thursday night, when they turned Donald Trump's mic back on, that no matter what question he is asked by that black woman Democrat masquerading as an NBC journalist, Kristen Welker, who is biased against him, as is the entire process against victim Trump.
Sure, the presidential commission is now biased against
the debate commission. Obviously, a bunch of by the way, Frank Fahrenkopf, the guy who's been in charge of that, I think for about 30 years. I think he was a good buddy of Ronald Reagan. I think.
I'll stop with your facts.
Right.
I don't want to hear your stupid facts.
But back to the point. The point is, no matter what question she asks about any topic, Trump is going to ignore the question and just start in as to why are you asking me X when you should be asking him about Burisma, about the Biden crime family, however he's going to position it. And that's all he's going to do because that's all he's got, he thinks. And, you know, it could go off the rails right there. It really, really could. Because any thought for a second, and by the way, can I just an off ramp for a moment, can we just remember the number of times that during Trump's presidency, when he would occasionally just read the teleprompter and suppress everything in him to not ad lib and not insult. He would just read the words on there. And then afterwards, doesn't matter what network you watch, it was Donald Trump finally became a president tonight. And Republicans would repeat that and they'd go with it. And the rest of us would sit there and say, yeah, he became a president tonight, my ass. And don't worry, within 12 hours, he will do something so stupid. He will tweet something so outraged. And of course, we were right every time.
Every single time.
Now we're now to the bottom of the ninth inning, and there are 2 outs. And Trump is coming up to bat, and he's got to hit 3 grand slams in 1 at bat.
Right.
So there is this lingering thought, and we all live with PTSD on this, that what would happen if Trump came out and really got an Academy Award performance all worked up inside and played it straight, and didn't yell, didn't insult, gave cogent, but this is not going to happen. It's not possible for it to happen because he would be off brand to his people.
That's true.
He would be off brand. They don't want that. They want Joe Biden down on the floor in tears, giving up. And the only way to do that is to interrupt him and beat him during the times when both mics are on, which is outside those 2-minute periods where the 6 topics will be brought up. Biden gets 2 minutes, Trump gets 2 minutes. Other than that, click, mics are on, go for it. But I don't think Trump is going to answer one question. I think it's just going to be attack. What do you think?
Well, it's all going to be Hunter Biden, and it's all going to be crooked Hillary, and it's all going to be Obama was crooked, and you should be in jail. And is that going to be the attack?
Boy, on your bingo card, I think you get bonus points if he brings up Hillary and Obama. I don't think they're on there. I doubt that they're on there, but they might be. I don't want to say it's impossible, but maybe even he knows that it's probably not a good idea to run against Hillary Clinton or Dr. Fauci. No, I take that back. He is running against Dr. Fauci.
Absolutely.
He's another new opponent. So,
it says Pat Robertson had a dream. Oh, God told him that Trump's going to win re-election. That's what Pat Robertson says. That's on Mediaite right now.
Yeah, you know who also thinks Trump is going to win, and I hate this guy. He's a son of a bitch.
Who is it?
But he's smart as hell, and he was right 4 years ago. Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy.
Yeah, but I thought he had jumped off the Trump train recently over some shit.
It's not a question. He's saying he's not endorsing Trump.
Right.
He just thinks that the Trump is so evil, and that he will be able to come up with enough bullshit here at the end to turn this just like in 2016. It's not specifically an endorsement of Trump, but he thinks he has these superhuman skills of persuasion that are arguably extremely evil, that we've never seen in the United States, that are Hitlerian, that he has this, and he thinks that the Trump will get reelected. He didn't sound 100% sure, but he did say those words. I heard him say it yesterday. He was on the Ari Melber show last night in the last segment. But
it says here he's voting for Trump.
Okay, all right. Well, then makes it even worse, doesn't it?
So, yeah, he's been a dick for like all these years, and he's kind of been trolling people. And he got mad about the white supremacist answer at the debate, but now he's back on board. They're back in love again.
Right. So he is as stupid in a way as the people he portrays as being stupid for falling for the propagandistic Donald Trump, right?
Right.
So anyway, I'm done talking about Scott Adams. I'm just done.
He's the greatest of all time. Drudge again seems to be all in on a Trump loss.
Today is a beaut. It's a beaut. Go ahead.
Is America ready for a boring president would be your top headline, but then they've got this stuff right below the fold. 2 weeks, Melania cancels campaign trip. Betting markets still show Joe. Biden overtakes Trump as Twitter king, and this is in terms of engagement. He's getting more engagement on his tweets than Donald Trump is. And a map of the infected states of America from Matt Drudge, who now seems to be fully on board with Joe Biden winning the election.
Now, the Melania canceling her getting on an airplane and flying, were they going to do this? Is this another Arizona thing, or where was this going to be? Minnesota, Wisconsin? I don't know where. It doesn't matter where it was going to be today.
The rally in Erie, Pennsylvania was set to be her first campaign appearance in more than a year, Brad.
Okay. She obviously does not have, because, she's not related by blood to Barron or to the Trump lineage.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Barron is half Trump, half Melania. Right. And so superhuman Donald Trump beat the virus in 3 days?
That's right.
And superhuman Barron hardly showed any symptoms. So when you are a member of the Trump Aryan race, you are a cut above. Melania, just apparently a normal human being who got it and has lingering effects many, many weeks afterwards, like so many people have.
Yeah.
Now, that's one explanation. The other explanation is she wants off the Trump train, okay? And she doesn't want to be seen campaigning for him because she's going to be looking for a job when this is all over too. When that first lady gig is up, who knows?
What's she qualified to do? I don't know what she's qualified to do.
Matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It's just a joke. So,
is she going to be on the
doesn't
View?
Want that on her resume like the Republicans now. How do you rewrite your resume?
I don't know. What did you do before this? I've heard the name before, but I'm not sure where I've heard it. I mean, didn't you live somewhere in D.C. for a while?
You changed your name.
Melania Stepowitz. I have no idea. We have no idea who this Melania Lipschitz. Okay, well, let's look at your resume here. It appears there's a 4-year gap here. That's very odd. I don't know what was going on there. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, they canceled the event, and she's talking, and they don't really know why. So, I mean, it feels like it's I don't know. It looks like a dead bang loser right now.
Wait, you're not saying that the whole rally is canceled. Just saying she's not.
Her appearance is going to. Okay. No, they're still going to go through with it. You're still going to see the greatness.
I'm taking you at your word. You said they canceled the event, and
if she's not going to be there, I don't want to go. But it'll be on C-SPAN 4 if you want to check it out. I'm sure it should be pretty good. It'll be very interesting. It was her first appearance since last year. They had a campaign kickoff event, Brad, in June of 2019. Maybe this is the problem, that they were kicking off the campaign, I don't know, January 21st of 2017.
Do you think he peaked too soon?
There may have been that sort of thing. And are we still doing, is it still infrastructure week at the White House?
No, but I will tell you, and there's a lot that's been written about this the last few days, that That scam in Wisconsin with the Foxconn plant, which was a public-private partnership, which is another way of saying hundreds of millions of dollars of tax money was going to go to this company, Foxconn, and they pledged to build this gigantic gigafactory that was going to make everything, phones, TVs, screens, high tech coming to Wisconsin, which is not exactly a high tech heaven. But Trump was pulling this bullshit off, along with that abhorrent former governor, Scott Walker, who in Trump's world should be labeled a loser because he tried to run for president and it went nowhere. But this was early in 2017 after he'd taken office, and he was still running around trying to convince people who hadn't voted for him, and specifically people who had voted for him as his campaign for re-election had already started, that he was this brilliant deal maker, this brilliant businessman. And any faith you had in him as being the guy you saw on The Apprentice as being just the king of the world on everything, you're seeing the fruits of that, because he got the Foxconn folks to come over here and pledge to bring back American technology jobs, the kind that had gone overseas to build all the products that what a genius. And there's 100 pictures of them holding the shovels the way everybody does when they're going to start to build a plant, and not one thing substantial has happened. They took over this gigantic building in that city, and it turned into a shithole. The water.
I have an update. I've got an update on that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
An interview with
I'm doing this from memory, but I just know this is
there's an update.
No wonder he's losing Wisconsin. That's all I can say. No wonder he's getting killed in Wisconsin.
Well, no, but he's got a great excuse. In an interview with WTMJ Television's Charles Benson, President Trump said that Foxconn's plant progress has been slowed by the pandemic, Brad, but he will deliver on his administration's promises if he's reelected.
Right.
Trump said the pandemic is to blame for Foxconn not meeting the jobs numbers and profit they had expected at this point. They've been slowed down worldwide by the pandemic.
Britt, I have a question for could you forward this question to the president?
I'm not going to be able to.
When did this project supposedly start off the ground? Early in 2017?
That's correct.
And when did the pandemic start to
the Chinese flu started under Obama in 2016, Brad.
Okay, so I'm wrong, and to use the excuse that something you started
that's why it's called COVID.
Ago,
that's why it's called COVID-16, Brad.
Okay. you know what? And he says this shit. He lies
with a straight face.
It's just unbelievable.
They haven't met the expectations yet, the president said, but they will get it done. They will do what I tell them to do. They will do what's supposed to be done, says the president. They did make promises. It's a massive company. They will do what has to be done. I guarantee that. The president continued on by saying Foxconn will be an incredible investment for our state, saying it will make a lot of money. That's an interview from a day ago from WTMJ Television, which I believe WTMJ stands for the Milwaukee Journal, doesn't it, Brad?
No, I thought it was too many Jews.
Too many Jews. I had that thought. And speaking of which, that's also another Drudge report. He says 75% of Jews are going to be voting for Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. That is one of the Matt Drudge stories that he's actually highlighting at the Drudge report right now.
That's about typical. That's about the way it usually is. That's not. I don't think that's higher or lower than your typical presidential election in the last 30 or 40 years. That sounds about right.
Sounds right to you?
Yeah. Yep. No, it doesn't sound right in that the 25% of people who vote for Republicans who are Jews are out of their fucking minds like the rest of them. But I'm just saying from the tabulation standpoint, from the arithmetic standpoint. Yeah.
This is a Jerusalem Post article. Is what fully 3/4 of U.S. Jews intend to vote for Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, According to a poll commissioned by the American Jewish Committee, 75% of those polled said they were voting for Biden, the former vice president under Barack Obama. 22% said they were voting for incumbent President Donald Trump, which means 3 did not understand the question.
Don't get the question.
Right. Which I think you're right.
They can never get to 100.
Now, do you have any thoughts on the announcement from Rush Hudson Limbaugh yesterday that the cancer has progressed? He is now surrendered to the fact that this is going to be a death sentence, and this is what's going to end his life. He said that the progression was not dramatic or whatever, but it does not look like things are headed in the right direction vis-a-vis his cancer. Any thoughts on Rush Hudson Limbaugh, a man that you have been obsessed with, Brad, for more than 30 years?
Well, we wish him well, of course. But, that sounds like it's a lot closer than anybody knows. That's what somebody wants to say. So I'll just leave it alone. Nature will take its course, and then we can start to reassess him. Now, not related to that, but kind of coincidental, tonight on public television on American Masters, they're doing an hour on Walter Winchell, brand new.
Wow.
Never been done before. Walter Winchell at his peak, who was this radio guy, you may know the name. He was on every night in America, not with talk radio. Talk radio didn't exist in this form in the 30s and 40s and into the 50s when Winchell was still on. But he had, I think it was like a 15-minute newsy show. It was gossipy. And he knew everything. He knew everybody. And he was a tabloidy guy. And he had an audience, they said, of 50 million people. Now, if you had an audience of 50 million people in a country of 150 million people, that is something else. That is dominance. Of course, there weren't as many choices. We get all that. But that was an omnipresent, famous guy. And I really urge you to watch that, because when we think that people like Limbaugh came out of nowhere, that there was nothing before them like this, that
right.
There was no one as demagogic and no one who held sway over people the way he has. And you could make a case that he singularly has done more damage in that position of being the preeminent person in his chosen field of talk radio than anybody else. And I would make that argument that he has been, he used to brag about it. 25 years ago, he would brag about how he got the Republicans to do this, or they're listening to me, and they would never go against me. And we would slough it off and just say, well, yeah, okay, big deal. But now, in retrospect, there's been nobody who's been a bigger suck up to Donald Trump than Rush Limbaugh. Repeat, nobody. Has there been one issue where we ever saw a headline, whether it was in Mediaite or any of the other sites that we follow, because we don't listen to Limbaugh, but when he says something out there, it does make the news, and it makes the media criticism sites. Can you recall once in 4 years where the headline was Limbaugh criticizes Trump, Limbaugh breaks with Trump,
No.
Limbaugh says Trump was wrong? Not once. So that's even worse than Tom Tillis. That's even worse than Lindsey Graham.
Right.
That's worse than Mitch McConnell. That's how much in the tank Trump was with Limbaugh, and Limbaugh with Trump. So they're he's a cancer on this country, and I'm not trying to make a pun or anything, because he's dying of cancer, but he really has been a cancer on the country. And I don't think we will be worse off with his absence. I'll just say that. I'll leave it there.
Do you think within the industry there's any thought at all among the company that he works for about what's going to replace that show once he's gone?
Well, I'm sure they're thinking about it.
I find it hard to believe. I think it's just going to be reruns.
I'll bet you that, believe me, I'm sure they've been thinking about it for about 10 years.
As they continue
they may have been thinking about it since his original problems, 15 years ago, whenever the hell that was.
Well, I do remember back in God, that was when they signed on against us back in 2010. Wasn't that the big Tea Party year?
Yeah.
And he had a non-heart attack right about the time the station that signed on against us came on the air when he was in Hawaii. Remember how they covered up that situation about him having a heart attack?
Right. So he's,
that's been 10 years ago.
He has not lived the healthiest lifestyle.
Not at all.
He's a smoker, right? Smokes cigars. And cigars have always been worse than cigarettes, right?
In terms of mouth cancer and all that stuff, in terms of respiratory, all that stuff.
He has lung cancer, right?
I think that's what he's got.
So, and it's already spread. So, he's in bad shape. And,
the thing that I always think about two things when I think about, because people, for a number of years I did the imitation and stuff like that. But I always think of two things. The one thing where I thought he was truly an awful person was he told this story about going home to Cape Girardeau one time, and he was flying on a private plane out. And his mother left the house and said, I'm going to go. And she brought some people to the airport to say goodbye to him because she was so proud of her son. And he was so embarrassed by this. He said he didn't talk to his mother for like 3 months. And I'm like, you're a terrible person. There's nothing my mother could do to me that would make me not talk to my mother at this point in my life. I'm so lucky to have my mother around. And he was an older guy at that time. How would you not talk to your mother for 3 months because she was proud of you and she embarrassed you by making a fuss over you with some of her friends? So that one is the one that always sticks with me.
Do we know that's a true story or?
Well, I think that was a moment of truth on his show that he actually told.
Oh.
So yeah, I don't think he would make that up.
It's certainly something to be proud of.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think it was one of those where he let down the veil and he didn't realize how awful he sounded when he said that. And the other thing was they had an article many, many years ago by, I think his niece, her name was Julie Limbaugh. And she said he would bring the whole family down to Florida for some resort for like Thanksgiving or Christmas. And he would the room key was like also a credit card for the gift shop. And he'd be like, yeah, go in and get whatever you want to. And she was like a teacher making no money. And she got this expensive pair of sunglasses and stuff. And this was back when he was going through the drug thing back in 2003 and 2004. And he apologized to the family, says, I've made it really tough to be a Limbaugh this year. And I thought, well, that was a very sweet thing for him to do for the entire family. So maybe there is some redeeming quality to this guy. Maybe there is. But I as far as wanting to pile dirt on him or whatever, I think he gets credit for saving AM radio, but it feels like he also helped kill AM radio to me.
Well, it's not worth saving AM radio when you're helping to kill the country.
Yeah, that may be a thing.
I would not make the case that as AM radio goes or went, so goes the country.
There's at least one generation of America that has no idea what we're talking about when we're saying AM radio. Right. They don't even know what it is.
Right. Bob Hope.
A new ABC Washington Post poll today talks about North Carolina in particular, and it shows a dead heat. 49% of North Carolina likely voters are backing Joe Biden, 48% backing Trump. That's well within the margin of error. The important thing is that Senate race. It's showing 49% of likely voters preferring Democrat Cal Cunningham, 47% are supporting Tom Tillis. So that is within the margin of error. This is going to be a tight race, and that is going to be the race that people are going to be looking for, Brad.
Yeah. But this Senate race may turn out to simply be a referendum on Trump.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the Tom Tillis being dumb enough to show up at the White House and get himself some coronavirus, and the Cal Cunningham text message affair scandal, it looks like they've balanced each other off, and nobody has decided that they're going to abandon their guy over their stupid behavior. So, okay, they've both been guilty of stupid behavior. Now we can just play the what's in it for me game and what's best for the country game, not judge each of these two guys in the last month or two on the worst moment of their public lives here. Tillis being a dumb enough suck up to Trump to show up there and be seen not wearing a mask and then picking up the virus, and Cal Cunningham campaigning as an upstanding, honest guy and then getting caught in having some dopey affair with some woman, which, again, but this is a referendum on Trump again, because Trump changed the equation on a politician being caught in something like this. And if I'm not incorrect, Cal Cunningham got out in front of this as fast as he could. He put out a statement that sounded suspiciously to me like the words of Bill Clinton back when Bill Clinton was running for president and got caught up in a few things. And he put out a few statements like this. And he was able to get over it and get elected president. But that's what it sounded like to me. I apologize to my family. I apologize to all of you. I shouldn't have done it. But it sounded very Clintonian, which is okay. That's all right. Would you rather sound Clintonian or Trumpian at a time like this? Because the Trump take when getting caught like something, she's lying. The text messages are fake. I was hacked. He would have done that. Cunningham owned it. And because he owned it, what more can you say? I know they're running commercials that point it out over and over again, but it's like Liberty Mutual commercials for most of us. We know it. Then, okay, yeah. And what about 500,000 people not on Medicaid? What about sucking up to Donald Trump on everything? It has balanced off. So those numbers are a point or two away from what they are with Biden and Trump, between Cunningham and Tillis. But
do you think any of the splatter on that gets on Roy Cooper? Because I think Roy Cooper is probably pretty safe.
Not even close.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're good.
Yeah. Cal Cunningham had an affair. I'm going to vote for Dan Forrester now. I'm going to show him.
Also known as Sue Myrick Jr. is what I like to call Dan Forrest. I'm still going to withhold my judgment on how stupid people are until this is all over. But I don't think people in North Carolina are that stupid to diselect Roy Cooper because of text messages sent by the Senate candidate. That's a dangerous proposition. I didn't think people in North Carolina were stupid enough to pass that House Bill 1 about doing pecker checker stuff. And then wasn't North Carolina the last one to try to ban gay marriage? Weren't we the last state in the country that tried to pass a referendum on that?
I don't know. Call Lindsay. He keeps a list.
What is it?
I don't know. I don't even know what that meant.
I don't even know what that means.
It just came out.
Over the past few weeks, this is one of my favorite stories of the past few days. Over the past few weeks, Donald Trump and his allies have kept close tabs on prominent conservatives the president believes are gearing up to throw him under the bus in the event that he loses his bid for re-election.
It's Don's shit list, right?
This is the shit list. There's no enemies list. Yeah. There's no enemies list like Richard Nixon had, featuring Paul Newman and various others.
But before you get to the list, let me, and I haven't read the story, but I kind of know about it, but I haven't read it. But does Donald Trump think? Do you think? Does Donald Trump think? And is he so pathetic that if he were to lose, he would devote his life to ruining anybody who was a Republican who dared to break with him these last few weeks? That he, beyond his political life.
I have two words.
By the way, I already know that the new line is, if he loses, he's coming back in 24. I've already heard that.
Which I think is the greatest thing. Again, like I want the Republican Party to be tethered to this jackass for as long as possible.
Yeah, if he loses, right, of course.
Not only him, but his stupid kids, his stupid grandkids. I want the Republican Party to have this anchor around their neck for all eternity, because they have earned all of that. Two individuals who have spoken to Trump say the president has expressed suspicion that members of his own party believe he will be defeated by Joe Biden. That sense of paranoia has been fed by the president's aides and confidants, who have flagged news coverage for him of Republican politicians either openly criticizing his conduct or else trying to distance himself from a looming possible electoral bloodbath. According to the sources with direct knowledge, the president is already contemplating retribution. The president said something to the effect of, if you're backing away from him now, don't bother coming back for a favor when he wins, the other source said.
Right.
He made a comment about how there are some people out there who can only count on things when things are going our way. Some of the coverage has been bookmarked for Trump, includes recent stories on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has not only split with the president on coronavirus-related stimulus legislation, but made a point of saying he hadn't been to the White House in weeks because of its cavalier approach to the pandemic. Right. Donald Trump is taking names, and he is threatening to kick ass, Brad.
Oh, good for him. Have at it. If he loses this election, and by the way, the only way he can lose it is if the Democrats cheat. We do know that.
Of course, yes.
Let's just say that the Democrats cheat and win the election, and he is got the big L. Is it this way or this way?
It's the which way does it look on camera? Double loser.
I think that they will drop him so fast.
Well, they'll try.
They will play the "you never heard of me" game, and I understand that he is not going to do what every president going back to probably George Washington, who after he left office did not trash John Adams. I happen to know this. He stayed off of Twitter. He did not go on TV. George Washington remained silent, went back to Mount Vernon, and just whittled wood for the rest of his life and made new teeth for himself.
Right.
But you know, Obama, pretty damn quiet these last 4 years. Every once in a while he's popped up, but he's restrained himself. George W. Bush, very, very quiet during the Obama years.
That's right.
Bill Clinton, very, very quiet during the George W. Bush. You know, that's the tradition. Well, he's a different kind of president. No, he's an asshole. He's not a different kind of president. He's just an asshole. So, yeah, I guess I'm answering my own question. He is petty and vengeful and pathetic enough to take down other people on purpose to try to ruin their lives if they didn't show complete obedience and fealty to him all the way to the bitter end. You know, at least Hitler had the decency to commit suicide in bunker. He did. He had the decency to commit
decency. Yeah. At long last, sir.
Right. When he knew that the war was lost, and in Trump's case, the election is the war. It is the war. It's the only war he's ever been involved in. When it is lost, he should go away, or he should, you know, have Melania shoot him, and then she can kill herself. We don't care.
On Fifth Avenue?
Yes.
One of the president's most powerful and influential confidants, billionaire media mogul Rupert Murdoch, has been telling associates he thinks Biden will win in a landslide. Murdoch specifically said he's been repelled by the president's mismanagement of the COVID-19 crisis. Sources familiar with the situation say Trump and Murdoch have not talked in several weeks. A White House spokesman did not respond to a request for comment on this story, but Trump campaign communications director Tim Murtaugh said in a statement, President Trump won in 2016 without the vocal support of the political insider crowd, and he's going to do it again. But the knives are out. Even Rupert Murdoch is smelling a dead dog, Brad, at this point in time with Donald Trump's campaign.
Well, you know, we've, over the years, we've occasionally brought up this idea that Donald Trump, who of course didn't really want or expect to win in 2016, has been, and I'm not just saying this week or last week, over the 4-year period, at times has acted and done things so against his own interest that it seems like not only does he not want the job in real time whenever that was, but he doesn't want to really get reelected. It's too onerous. And when he would always say, and he still says it, that he gave up this fantastic life for you because I saw what was going on in the country, and I thought I could fix it. And yeah. But contained within that statement is, okay, I've done my time. I'm going home. I've done my time. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. I'm done.
Right.
And the argument is coming up right now again that he is truly acting like a guy who is waving the white flag, who's throwing in the towel. And because of his horrible performance in trying to help the country with the coronavirus, the zero leadership, and the fact that the only card he has in his deck that's still left is to be able to, and it's not really that relevant, but he's good at bullshitting, so I hear, that he's the only guy that can really bring the economy back to wherever it was, this fairyland of greatness that just ended unfairly 9 months ago when the Chinese unleashed a virus on me, Donald Trump.
That's what they did.
But that is his only argument, and he isn't even making that right now. He allows himself every hour on the hour to get sidetracked. And another thing that we've noticed through the years is that whenever he's had a really bad day, a bunch of bad headlines come up, he says something stupid that he gets pasted for, indefensible things. You can count on the next morning a full hour on Fox and Friends. Well,
Always.
Guess where he was this morning between 8 and 9 o'clock? He was there just yammering, just yapping.
That's the real question. If he loses, is he still going to be like this regular guest on Fox News?
Oh, my God. Yeah. You know what? He will be on there more than Bob Hope was on NBC.
Twice a year?
Yeah, right. The Christmas special and, Bob live in Da Nang.
Okay?
That's right. with Brooke Shields and Ann Margaret.
Hey, how about that, Brooke Shields? Hey, how about that, Joey Heatherton? Right here. That's it for today, guys. Thank you.